What's up guys, Nathan here, and today I want to talk about the basic betting mistake that I still see so many poker players making these days. This might be costing you money at the poker table. I'm going to give you an example step by step in today's video to help you fix this problem now. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so what is the big mistake that so many poker players are making these days in terms of betting, and really talking about on the turn and river, and that is double barreling with weak top pair hands. Double barreling, by the way, the definition of that is when you raise pre-flop, you bet the flop, and then you bet the turn again. It's a very strong play in Texas Hold'em. It's something that I do recommend doing quite a bit, but you don't typically want to be doing it with weak top pair hands. And I'm going to give you an exact step-by-step example in just a moment. Now, why is this a bad idea to be betting again with these hands? The reason why, guys, is because you fold out all their bluffs and you typically only get called by better hands. For those of you guys who are fans of the channel here, by the way, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss my new poker strategy videos. You already know that I refer to this as a lose-lose situation. You don't gain anything from this. You fold out other bluffs. We want to keep those in so that they can make bad bluffs with those hands against us, and you only get called by hands that have us in really bad shape. Guys, we want win-wins in poker. We don't want situations where we're just losing. So often you just want to be checking behind in these situations, but let's jump into the hand right away so that you really understand what I'm talking about here on a deeper level. So you raise up good old ace jack offsuit, ace of hearts, jack of spades on the button, and a nit calls you in the small blind. Now, number one, what do we know about the nit? Well, two things. This is the tightest player at the poker table and also the most passive player at the poker table. These players are also often referred to as a rock. Basically, it's the quiet guy or girl in the corner. You haven't seen them play a hand in 20-30 minutes, or it's the player online that's often multi-tabling several different games at once. These players are very common, especially in low stakes games today. I don't really recommend this play style. In fact, in my free poker cheat sheet, which will be the top link in the description below, I recommend playing a tight and aggressive or a loose and aggressive play style. That's what I teach in that free guide. But it's important to understand how to play against these type players because you're going to encounter them so frequently, especially if you play small or mid-stakes games. So anyways, the flop comes down with a jack of spades, 10 of hearts, and 6 of diamonds. And what should we do? All right, guys, so this is basically a spot where you just want to be making the standard c-bet. And when I say c-bet, that refers to continuation bet. We raise pre-flop, and now we're going to be continuing the aggression here on the flop by making another bet and forcing them to fold out all their hands that missed this flop. So when they check to us on a board like this and we have top pair, and I'm assuming that the nit did check to us in this spot here, we're just going to be making a standard continuation bet the vast majority of the time versus one player almost irregardless of their player type. It's just a straightforward situation. We have top pair, top kicker. There's no reason to be getting tricky here, especially if you play small stakes games. That's a topic for an entire other video, guys, and something I've talked about before is removing fancy play syndrome from your game. This is what holds so many people back in small stakes games. I talk about this in my first book, Crushing the Micro Stakes. You definitely want to be just making the standard play here most of the time. So anyways, let's just assume that the nit calls us though, because that's a lot more interesting, of course. So the turn comes down with a 9 of clubs. The nit checks. What should we be doing in this situation? All right, guys, so let's assess the situation here. When you have ace jack on a board of jack 10, 6, 9 rainbow, rainbow meaning 4 different suits by the turn here. There's no flush draw available. So guys, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself in this situation is what worse hand, value hand by the way, can a tight player actually call us with if we bet again here? And the answer is almost none. Let's talk about some value hands that this player might have. King jack. A tight player like a nit, this is the kind of player that does not like to put a lot of money in the middle unless they have a very strong hand, and typically that means something better than top pair good kicker, which is exactly what king jack represents on this board. Players like this are notoriously weak, and they will often fold this hand if we bet again here, meaning that we're not getting any value out of that hand. We do do expect Queen Jack to call here again, so that is one value hand that I think will call us again, because that hand of course has an open-ended straight draw as well. But beyond that, guys, there's very few hands that we can conceivably expect a tight, passive, weak player type like this to call us again with. For example, a tight, passive, weak player here is certainly going to fold all of their middle pair hands in a situation like this. A hand like ace 10, for example. Maybe they were hanging on with ace 6 suited or something like that. That hand is also going to be going into the muck here. And the other thing, guys, is that we clearly don't need to be bluffing in this situation because we have top pair. So as I discuss in my third book, the Micro Stakes Playbook, you often want to use what I call deception value in this situation. Check behind here and you're going to be able to cash in that value on the river. They're never going to believe that we have top pair because we check behind on the turn here, and so you're often going to be able to get a hand like ace 10 or ace 6 to perhaps make a light call versus you on the river, and allowing you to get that extra little bit of value out of them. Whereas if you make another bet on the turn here, it just looks way too strong and they're probably going to fold their hand. The other thing that I hope you guys noticed on this turn board here is that it is highly coordinated. And what I mean by that is there are multiple different two pair possibilities, straight possibilities. Remember, we're up against a tight player, guys. They don't play crappy hands like Jack 4 or 10 deuce or something. Those hands are not in this player's range. This player has hands like Broadway hands, meaning two cards that are 10 and above. I think almost all of those cards really like this board. This player plays a lot of suited connectors as well. Suited connectors really love this board. There's a lot of, in fact, made straights with suited connectors on this board, like 7-8, for example. King Queen just made the nut straights. Even Queen 8, which is arguably not in this player's range, but even that hand has a straight here. There's also multiple two pair possibilities with hands like Jack 10, Jack 9, and 10-9. So the other thing on this turn here is if we choose to bet again, our likelihood of getting check raised in this spot is quite high. I actually didn't even mention the pocket pairs, pocket 6s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, and pocket jacks. We certainly expect a tight passive player to just flat with these hands pre-flop as well, and if they've got one of those hands, we are certainly getting check raised on the turn here, which of course is not a good outcome for us. So guys, I hope that you can see that for all of these reasons, when you have one of these sort of weak top pair hands, I guess I shouldn't describe this as a weak hand. I mean, we do have top pair, top kicker still. It's not like we have Jack 7 or something here or Jack deuce. I hope that my analysis helped you guys understand that there's just not a lot for us to gain by betting again on this turn here, especially against this player type. And as I discuss at length in my brand new Elite Poker Training University, 17 plus hours of advanced training, I have multiple videos in that course. By the way, you can enroll right now. I'll include links in the description below. I have multiple videos talking about finding your why, finding your reason for betting, especially on the turn and river, asking yourself, can I get called by worse hands? Or am I telling a believable story here as a bluff? And when neither of those are true, often you just want to be checking behind and cashing in that deception value on the river. Guys, I hope this one helped. Make sure you like and subscribe if you found it useful. And also, once again, you can grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That'll be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.